This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome to the Elevate Construction Podcast. This is Reno, the producer, and this is the fourth of 9 podcast episodes recorded in 2017 after implementing Lean on a project. You will hear the voices of Jake Smalley, Jake Pardoon, and Jason Schroeder as they reflect on the successes and failures of their experiment. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Jake and Jason here in Tucson. Podcast number 4. The title of this one is Winning Over the Workforce and Respect for People. I'm going to kick this one off. I think it's real important to try and find a commonality with all your workers. Now, is that easy? So some people listen and probably have 3 or 4 or 5, 600 people on their job. That's not doable. But you do come in contact with a lot of people. And if you can start doing that, I challenge you to try and learn one interesting fact about a person. You don't have to know their whole life's degree. Maybe find out if they have kids. Maybe I'll tell you right now that Jason and I, we've tried this. I do it naturally, is what I'm told all the time. But I have to practice. Jason says he practices, but by doing this, it has opened so many doors, and I've gotten not only the respect of the workers, but of everyone on site, and they do things for me when I need it done. And that's just one benefit from the respect, but I kind of enjoy it. And I think, honestly, starting to learn about a little bit more about people, you'll start to do it too. So some things that we did out here for winning over the workforce. So we talked about the fun things and the incentives, but
I just want to interrupt you. I'm sorry for being rude, Jake, but one thing is that we really believe is to build the team first. And we have to, what you do really well is the people on site are your team. It's fine to just go tell them, hey, go do this work, install those metal panels, do that wall, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you're not using your tool to its full effect, or your team or your equal partners, unless you try and build them up. And what you're talking about is, I don't want to say eternal. It's a general principle. It's a true principle that you build the team first. Anyway, go ahead. Okay, so Jake, I interrupted you. You were going to talk about some of the other things that we did to win people over. Go ahead, buddy.
okay. So speeches in the morning, motivational speeches. I don't know. I've just never been around it. Jason does a really good job at it. He tells stories about William Wallace. He tells stories, several things.
Mainly World War II.
World War II is mainly his deal about General Patton, but it gets the guys and they start to understand, and it puts you more on a personal level. Personal stories. Personal stories is another good one. After sharing a personal story, I think last podcast or 2 ago, I talked about my wife falling off of a ladder and hurting. I told that in a morning safety meeting about ladder safety, and explain why it was, it hit close to home. And after that, I had a lot of the guys come up, man, ask me questions. Wow, that really happened to your wife. Were you okay? All that kind of stuff. Just asking a lot of really questions that you usually don't get to have conversations with people about. So that's another one. Complimenting the guys is super important. We believe.
Relating compliments that come from the upper management or the owner themselves on the work that's happening, that each person's doing.
And that was Jake Pardoon. He's another superintendent on site. I like that one. So personal, reels, life examples, and then when the owner, like you said, compliments or anybody, pass it along.
Because to get them to buy into the process, to get them to buy into the idea, the concept, they have to fully engage into it. And one of those ways, like you were talking about with personal stories, to talk about what the owner is saying and how well we're doing with what the owner is. And then also on some of that is also asking when the owner says we need to improve on something. saying, yes, we're doing well on this, but here's what the owner's noticing. We need to take care of that. And then it gets them bought into the whole concept. They're 100% engaged into it because the feedback's coming back and forth.
And because our culture says you're trying to take care of your customer, is what you're saying. I like that. So go ahead, Jake. Sorry to interrupt you, but
No, you're good. That's why we're doing this. So, see what else I think of. Oh, so the compliments goes along with kind of like what Jake was just saying. Huddle recognition. Recognize them in front of everybody is huge. The guys really, you can see when you recognize someone how proud they are when you of their work. These guys, they put their heart and soul into this, and blood, sweat, and tears. And when you recognize them in front of a big group of people, most of the guys, you can just see their aura. These guys kind of just pump up like they're ready to go to war. It gives them almost a breath of new life, and it's really cool to see that happen.
Ooh, you just made me think of something. So in Scouts, there's something called the EDGE method. I don't know if anybody's ever heard that, but it's explain, demonstrate, guide, enable. One thing that we found with any proper behaviors, and the thing that Jake was just talking about when you're giving compliments, is that it's really helped us to have our electrician be like top-notch, get the lean culture, posts the signs, does what they're supposed to, fills out their pre-task plans, never has any trash. And so when you can explain it to all the other guys and they can only get, so much of it, but then you demonstrate, it's nice to have a trade partner on site that demonstrates the proper behavior. And then it allows you or them through their example to kind of guide the other folks and then enable the whole job site to kind of adopt these practices. And so what Jake's talking about 100%, and we were able in the beginning to really brag on our electrician. And then that's when other people through that example started to really come along.
Yeah. And that goes two ways. So it's competition. You bring out the competition, everybody, because some guys are competitive. So we would compliment our electrician all the time, and because they literally did everything right.
Perfect.
They jumped on, they do the meetings, they do training, they train their guys, anyway, all the stuff, they participate, they do lean ideas, they make videos, everything that we implemented out here, they jumped on board and did it 100%. The cool thing was you had some of the guys, the other subcontractors or trade partners that would work and be in these meetings and be like, I'm kind of fired up that you're always paying the electrician all these compliments, and they would get fired up and it would make them perform. They would perform. The other route was that we had was, well, they would take it as an example. Now you always have like the one or two offs that would kind of put off by it. And we talked about the 30 and 70%, but you get everybody, but we're elevated to where we get 90% of the people to participate. You're going to get those guys that just kind of get angry and don't want to do that, but they didn't last very long anyway. So
no, and sometimes this isn't like a general principle, but I would call them out in the meeting and be like, hey, somebody in such and such area didn't do that. If anyone sees that, you need to call them out or tell somebody. And so for the people that didn't want to do the right thing, sometimes we had a little bit of a herd culture and they kind of kept each other accountable. Sometimes. But anyway, go ahead. It's good stuff. What was your next on the list?
Let's see here. Did I say ask them? Oh, ask them what they think. I get that all the time, and I don't know about you guys, but yesterday I got it.
Did you tell that story in the
podcast? No, 2 podcasts ago. But anyways, yeah. But it really hit right on the nose. But it's happened several times. I mean, you're always working with someone who has more experience than you. There's always going to be a guy out there that's done it longer than you have and has a better way of doing it. And a lot of these people are so used to just being around the regular general contractor that just barks at them and tells them exactly what they have to do and blah, 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 blah. Ask them what they think.
Well, ask first, right?
Yeah. I had, like I told the guy with the drywall, but so many guys will come to you and say, oh, how do you want it done? And most people, when you say, well, what do you think? And you ask their opinion, they're like, holy cow, like they're almost shocked that you're asking them what they think. And that bothers me because everyone's got a brain, and these guys, they have this genius that we don't want to waste.
Well, that's one of the 8 ways, not using the team genius, right?
Exactly.
So,
and I think that happens a lot. So we that's super important to ask the guys their opinion on how to do things. All right there.
Well, it also makes them feel enabled that they're participating into. So it's that whole buy-in to, to the project. If you're asking, hey, I've done this a few times, I've never done this before, or I think that you have a better way of doing it. How would you do this? What would you do? I want your input into this. Ultimately, they're the ones that are performing it. They're the ones that are constructing it. We're just out there enabling them to do that.
You got to look at it like this. The more, whatever respect you put into those guys from a human level, from interaction level, they're going to put into your building, into your walls, into your cleanliness, into the quality, into anything else. The exact amount that you give, they're going to give to you.
And they're gonna turn around and look at you in a different way. Instead of looking at you as a dictator, they look at you as a leader. And that's winning, bowling them over so that they are on your side. They're on your team, not on their team. And you're on your team. We're all on one team.
I like that. One quick idea before Jake wraps this up. We also, if we were having an issue with a crew or we didn't see eye to eye, or there was obviously just something that was not going right with a group of people, we'd bring them in and have a talk. I remember one crew, they weren't getting the cleanliness thing, so we showed them a clip from Ratatouille about keeping their station clean. I think another crew, we showed them some Patton videos. Anyway, like if you have trouble with the crew and the guys and they're just not getting it, sometimes you just need to bring them into the conference room and say, all right, open forum, everybody's equal. You can't say anything to get in trouble. Tell me what you think and just get on the same page. And that really does work out.
Okay, one quick thing. One of the best things that happened on this project was setting the standard early. And like Jason was talking about, getting our electrician on board early, that was great. They jumped in, they held everything, they set the precedents. But not only that 2 years later, we're continuing with that same standard. Nothing has changed. Everyone has the same expectations then that they do now, and we have that same expectations of the subcontractors that are coming on late. The smaller subcontractors, we hold them to the same standard that we held the large subcontractors to. And that consistency from the beginning to the end helps keep everyone in line, and it helps not only for us to enforce it, but helps the other subcontractors enforce it. Talking to subcontractors who have not been on this job, but have heard about it, said, oh, I've heard that you guys have a high standard for safety, that you remove people. Yes, we do. Oh, I've heard this, or I've heard that, because they know the standard that was set early is continuing today.
And when I hear you say that, I appreciate that, Jake, because Jake Pardoon came in later on in the project at the end to help us finish and really did a great job. What that says to me is that, they have to have, everybody, all of us has to have consistency and know that we're not going to abandon these things at different times, right? It's just like, I don't want to use the example of kids too much because the crafts people aren't kids, but with my kids and your kids and you actually have 4, 3, 4, 3, 5, and 10. So I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so
Did we talk about that?
we did it, but we just added 3 more kids. So there you go. Anyway, with the kids, they're going to test you, right? They're going to keep pushing. They're going to say, Jay or Dad, what can I do this? 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 And they're waiting for you to bend. And if you don't, they're like, okay, this is something to believe in. All right, I'll go along with this, right? And same thing with the people on site. They're going to push and push and push until they know that you're so doggedly determined to get that done. They're like, okay, well, I guess these guys do care. They do believe, and it's a real deal. So I'll let you do it.
And I remember the one time we sent that guy home early when I first got here. We were doing the underground piping systems, and we needed that guy here who's an operator, and he was operating with sunglasses on and not safety glasses on. And
what happened was, no, he got off of a working piece.
Well, he got off a working piece of equipment. That's right, and it was still running, and we had to send him home, and we debated because we needed him there. He was the only operator. And we debated, do we bend here? Do we not bend here? And we enforced it. We kept it. And we sent him home for a day, and he had to come back and do our orientation again. But we held that line. And even in the most stressful times, even when it's the busiest, you can't bend at all. You need to establish the four corners of a room to keep everyone inside.
I agree with that. So I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. So to tag on what Jake would say, what Jake was just saying, what kind of men are we if we hold some people accountable but not all people accountable? It don't work. And that's what I think Jake was talking about is, even in crunch time, we still held to that line and that what we established. Wrapping up, for me, the proof is in the pudding. You want to talk about winning craft over and, being successful at it. I've never had more people. So in Tucson where we're at, there's 3 large jobs all in a row. There's also several large, it's booming right now. And there's a labor shortage. So there's tons of people going all over the place. You have craft guys going from, we'll be here for a week and then they'll go to another job for a week and then come back. And over and over and over again, this entire project, as this has went on, the guys have come back and said, please don't make us leave again. Keep us busy. Don't make us leave. Don't let us leave. So if you're a non-believer and saying these guys, Jake, Jason, and Jake are pulling our legs, I assure you, I would not have had that many people come up to me and say, please, we want to be with you guys. We like how you do it. So many comments. Hey, you guys do it different. Hey, it's so much fun. It's so clean. We love being here. All that fun stuff. And it really shows that we learn how to respect and really love the people.
And I don't want to have the last word, but one thing that the owner buys into that they said one time is that some of the bigwigs came out here and was like, it's like coming to Disneyland. You kind of feel the magic when you get here. Everyone's happy. People say hi to each other. They have smiles. They feel respected. It's fun. And that's really what it's all about. Anything else, Jake?
So I'm going to get the last word. So we appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day or evening.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.